Today on Theater Talks, we will be talking about the one, the only musical spectacular, Chicago. The first draft of Chicago was originally written by Maureen Watkins while she was taking a drama course at Yale University. An embellished version was optioned by veteran producer Sam Harris, who engaged George Abbott to stage the satirical comedy for a December 30th, 1926 opening at New York's Music Box Theater. And just like that, the novice playwright became an overnight sensation with a hit Broadway show that ran for 172 performances. Chicago begins with a bang, with Roxy Hart, who's kind of described as a Raphael angel with a touch of Medusa, accuses her sugar daddy of betraying her with another woman, and she proceeds to shoot him. Roxy is held at the women's ward of the Cook County Jail, where she is automatically labeled as the prettiest woman ever to commit a crime. The play, of course, is filled with satirical darts aimed at media mongers, corrupt lawyers, and politicians. While in jail, Roxy meets several other inmates who are part of the murderous row of the Cook County Jail. One of those is Velma Kelly, who's in her 30s, kind of quiet, and denies killing her husband for insurance money. These women start a battle for the media attention, and when Velma's trial starts, Roxy gets a little bit jealous. What does she do? She faints and pretends to be pregnant, which of course drives the media crazy. And with the help of Billy Flynn, her defense counsel, the media goes even crazier when he tells her to ignore the media, ignore the jury, and just find her husband in the crowd during her trial. And he hopes this will cause the jury and just the general public to want to play Cupid and reunite the couple. Chicago toured successfully in Detroit, Boston, Chicago, and LA. It was filmed in 1927, and it deviated from the original story by focusing on Amos Hart rather than Roxy. In the 1942 remake, it followed the stage play a little more, and it starred Ginger Rogers as Roxy Hart and Adolphe Menjou as her manipulative attorney. In 1975, the play got a new lease on life, becoming the musical vaudeville that we know and love today. It takes place in the 1920s. The curtain opens. We are told that we are going to see a story about greed and corruption. Velma Kelly starts us off with the chorus of the Cook County Jail murderesses as they sing All That Jazz. An elevator comes up. We see Roxy Hart with her sugar daddy, Fred Casely. She's drunk, she hiccups, they go into her apartment, and the door closes. We get a view of the characters in the bedroom. Roxy is in bed, and Fred is pulling his pants up, and as he proceeds to walk away from him, she shoots him twice. In jail, Velma leads 5 of the other murderesses of the Cook County Jail in the rendition of Cell Block Tango. We are introduced to Mama Morton, and she sings When You're Good to Mama, Mama's Good to You. She assures Velma that she will be acquitted on March 7th, and by March 8th, she will be on her own vaudeville tour. And for a small fee, she can ensure that the William Morris Agency will get Velma $2,500 in fee. Velma resignedly gives Mama Morton the money. Roxy hangs on to the bars nervously. Mama Morton assures her that it's entertainment. What these people are doing is entertainment, and Cook County Jail has yet to hang a woman. And she says that for a $100 fee, she can get Billy Flynn on her side. Flynn, dressed to the teeth, talks to the audience and tells them that he really only cares about the $5,000 fee, no exceptions. Amos Hart, Roxy's husband, agrees to pay this fee, and Billy Flynn gets started on Roxy's story, which involves the convent, a runaway marriage, a foolish affair, and then they both reached for the gun. Roxy is sure that if Flynn can get her out of jail, she will have her own vaudeville show. Unfortunately for Velma, people are starting to lose interest in her. She is starting to be considered uninteresting and washed up. And desperate, she turns to Roxy so that they can team up and cause new interest. But during My Own Best Friend, they go their separate ways. Roxy faints. Billy Flynn and, of course, everyone that is there goes to her concerned, and that's when she reveals that she is going to have a baby. The curtain falls. And so Billy concocts this great scheme in which he will get people to pity Roxy by convincing Amos to divorce her. Now, Amos feels invisible, inconsequential, as we learned during his solo number, Mr. Cellophane. He is easily manipulated by Flynn into getting the divorce. The plan will be Roxy will be knitting during the trial, and Flynn will get them to get back together in front of the pitying jury. However, Roxy, ego up to here, believes that she can now handle everything on her own, and she fires Flynn. However, after one of the murderesses is hanged, the first woman to be hung at the Cook County Jail in 47 years, Roxy freaks out and runs back to Flynn and is prepared to follow any and all of his instructions. At the trial, Flynn convinces Amos that he is the father of Roxy's unborn child. Flynn calls Roxy to the stand, and her testimony goes as this. After quarreling with her husband, she went into the affair with Fred Casely, and on that night, he ripped off her kimono, threw her on the bed, and as he reached for the gun, she got it first. She closed her eyes and pulled the trigger. The jury finds Roxy not guilty, and as the verdict is being read, gunshots are heard off stage. There's confusion, everyone runs out, even Flynn leaves Roxy. The only one who remains loyal is Amos. But Roxy brushes him off, telling him that the pregnancy was all a fake. The set begins to change, and the master of ceremonies announces the new act. Roxy and Velma are now together. They perform the final song in top hats and canes, and they thank the audience. The Battle Hymn of the Republic plays at the end. They throw roses to the audience, smile, and the curtain descends. Directed and choreographed by Bob Fosse, Chicago opened at New York's 46th Street Theater on June 3, 1975. The leading actors were Gwen Verdon, Chita Rivera, and Jerry Orbach. The critics' reception was mostly enthusiastic. There were a few dissenting voices. 20 years later and 70 years after the presentation of the original Maureen Watkins play, the musical Chicago was revived in a concert rendition at Manhattan City Center, followed on November 14, 1996, by a full-scale, enormously successful production at the Richard Rogers Theater, starring Anne Reinking, who also choreographed the show in the vaudevillian style of Bob Fosse, as Roxy, Bebe Neuwirth as Velma, and James Naughton as Billy Flynn. As of October 2, 2011, Chicago has run 6,176 performances. It is still going strong. A motion picture version, scripted by Bill Condon and directed by Rob Marshall, an energetic concoction enhanced by jump cut editing and cynical on-the-mark performances by Renee Zellweger, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Richard Gere, and Queen Latifah, winning Oscars for Best Picture of 2002 and for Supporting Actress, Film Editing, Art Direction, Costume Design, and Sound. Jerry Springer, the tabloid television host, played Billy Flynn for 6 weeks in a 2009 London revival of the musical Chicago. For more information on Chicago, or just other plays in general, you can check out Blood on the Stage by Amnon Kabatchnik, 1975 through 2000, Milestone Plays of Crime, Mystery, and Detection, which is where I got all the information that I presented to you today. Bye. Thank you.